Hello everybody, my name is Jackie and welcome to Prairie Sports Talk, the podcast where we talk about sports that directly impact the Canadian Prairie. Today is May 29th, 2024 and we have a special update video about the NHL Conference Finals and updating my playoff bracket. Don't worry, there will be a regular Prairie Sports Talk episode tomorrow, but today we are focused on the NHL Conference Finals. I know they've already started and we're a few games in, but I am keeping my predictions accurate to what they were before we started. I just have not had a chance to record this episode until literally just yesterday. So let's get into it. Alright, so first things first. Let's talk about my predictions for the conference finals. Not going to need a major update after I went 3-1 in the previous round in my predictions. But I still feel like I should probably go over my predictions in case you haven't seen previous episodes of Prairie Sports Talk where I went over my bracket. So, I think in the Eastern Conference Finals, New York is going to beat Florida in 6, maybe 7 games if Florida gets a spectacular game in New York or something along those lines. Now, at time of recording, the series is 1-1. But there is going to be a game between these teams before this episode goes live on the 29th. So one team will have an advantage. I don't know who at time of recording. But what I do know is Florida is not nearly as deep as New York's team is. The Rangers have, I'd argue, one of the deepest depth charts left in the NHL between the final 4 teams. I'd argue they have the best goalie out of these final 4 teams. I'd argue they are probably the most dangerous out of these final 4. New York, I think, is probably the best team left. But Florida has a pretty good roster too. Matthew Tkachuk has had a really good playoff run so far this year, in my opinion. And if anyone is going to stop the Rangers, it will be him. But that's a lot of pressure to put on him. It's going to need to be a combined team effort from Florida, which I'm not fully convinced they can give every single game against a team like the Rangers. A team that is not only somehow tougher than Florida, they also are a surprisingly skilled offensive team with a very skilled goaltender in Shesterkin in the crease. I think Florida, they'll just outmatch this round. Sorry, Panthers, I don't think this is your year, maybe next season. But on to the Western Final. Dallas and Edmonton. Now, no surprise here if you've watched any of my previous episodes where I've talked about the bracket. I picked Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup. So obviously, even though I had to update this one after thinking after thinking Colorado would beat Dallas, I still think Edmonton will win this series. Yes, at time of recording, they are down 2-1 in the series. But here's the thing. Lots of people seem to be blaming it on Stuart Skinner. I could not disagree much more. I think Skinner, considering the shots that he has faced, he still had a pretty good series and a pretty good playoff run. The shots that have gone in against him, with one notable exception last night that put the Stars up 4-3 in the third, where it was just a fluky goal where it just kind of bounced off the post and off Skinner and then into the net. I think almost every other goal Skinner has allowed in the playoffs, I think they could have been prevented if the defense had better positioning. I'm not saying Edmonton's defense is weak. I'm just saying sometimes, too often, they are in the incorrect spots and they leave Skinner hung out there to dry. I feel like if Edmonton's defense can step it up, they will win this series in 7. I honestly think this will be the toughest series Edmonton has faced yet. But I don't think that would change the fact that Edmonton will win this series. Yes, they have to steal one more on the road now. Yes, they are down 2-1. But this is a hungry team, and specifically their captain, Connor McDavid. I think he's even hungrier than I'd say any other player in the league. Connor McDavid is a once-in-a-generation player. In my opinion, he is the greatest player in the NHL right now. He's the best player in the world, and that's not a question to me. But the player drafted second overall in his draft, a player who was considered a bust for quite a few years, Jack Eichel, since being traded to the Golden Knights in Vegas, he has looked like the player many expected him to be. And he has something that McDavid doesn't. A Stanley Cup ring. How do you think McDavid feels seeing the player drafted directly after him having a ring when he doesn't? I think that is one of two factors driving McDavid right now. And I don't think it will be long until he goes on an absolute tear and just takes over this series. He has the ability to just single-handedly beat almost any team in the NHL. I'd argue any team. So that's one factor driving McDavid. But I think there's another factor driving him and all the Oilers. It has been 30 plus years since a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. The Oilers are now 3 wins away from appearing in a Stanley Cup, and they are currently 7 wins away from breaking that drought. Don't you think those players want to be the team to break that drought? Dallas, yes, they haven't won a Stanley Cup before, so obviously they're going to be very hungry as well. But at this point, it's not just Edmonton. The Oilers are playing for all of Canada. Canada wants that Stanley Cup, and Edmonton is in a great position to give it to them. I think that is going to be what drives the Oilers to claw back into the series, tie it up at 2, and eventually win what I believe will be in Game 7. But that's just to get to the Stanley Cup. All of that needs to happen just to get to the Stanley Cup, where they will have to face, in my opinion, the New York Rangers. This will be a battle of 2 incredibly skilled teams, 2 high-powered offenses, and I still think Edmonton will win. I really do. Because for all the reasons I listed for the Western Conference Final, I think those reasons are only going to get amplified if Edmonton makes it to the Stanley Cup. I think Edmonton will win the Stanley Cup. I think it will be in 7 as well. And I think McDavid gets his ring. And I can't wait to see how the rest of the playoffs end up. This is going to be a fun couple more weeks. Let's get at it. But that is everything I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this update, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. And if you're on Spotify, be sure to follow the 13th Man Podcast Network. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you guys have a great whatever. I will see you all tomorrow. But until then, this is Jackie for Prairie Sports Talk signing off. Stay safe, stay strong. You got this.